This is SportsCenter.
It sure is. She is Shae Cornette. I am Matt Barrie.
What were you going to call me?
I was going to call you K Cornette. It's going to be the last name altogether. We're both in blue. We look good, and it's the first AP preseason college football poll out. Paul Feinbaum standing by to react to the rankings shortly. We'll dig into the early plays for Heisman betting as well.
So Mary instead of Matt Barrie, maybe that's going to be your name.
Mary would be good.
There we go. Meanwhile, plenty of NFL to get to because Patrick Mahomes' newest wide receiver, Hollywood Brown, hurt in the preseason opener for the Chiefs. What Andy Reid had to say about his status just moments ago.
And meanwhile, as the quarterback competition between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields over, Adam Schefter with the latest following Fields' performance this weekend.
And rookie reaction in full effect. The impression Caleb Williams made in his debut for the Bears this week, and the one quarterback already moving up in the Rookie of the Year conversation.
But Shae, we begin with a developing story here on SportsCenter. The health of Hollywood Brown, the Chiefs' new wide receiver, will miss some time after dislocating his shoulder in Saturday's preseason game. Andy Reid said after the game a similar injury cost Tyreek Hill 4 games back in 2019. Here's what Kansas City's head coach had to say today that is new on SportsCenter.
Hollywood, they were able to get the joint back into place without surgery, which is a positive. And then we'll just see on the recovery. He's back in Kansas City now. He stayed over in Jacksonville till they got that thing situated. He's going to be back, and we're pulling for him to, get back, obviously.
Is it reasonable to think he could play against Baltimore?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
So that question the reporter asked Dan Orlovsky was, will he be available for week 1? And that was Andy Reid's answer. We don't know. We'll see how that goes.
Sure.
Look, I don't think the week 1 thing is a big deal for the Kansas City Chiefs. They're certainly loaded in other positions. But let's go big picture with this. How concerning is a Hollywood Brown injury at this point in camp going into the season?
Yeah, I believe it's concerning, Matt, and I do think week 1 in the beginning of the season matters. Number one, the change in this offense compared to last year was going to be the speed that Hollywood Brown was going to bring. And I understand that they had Xavier Worthy. We're going to get into him, their first-round draft pick out of the University of Texas, because he's still going to bring that. But with Hollywood Brown out, and potentially for the start of the season, it brings into a greater focus on what might be the situation with Rashee Rice. We still know that might become part of the picture. And so you have 2 dependable receivers, at least the expectation in Kansas City, a little bit unknown. The pressure is going to fall on Xavier Worthy because that's what this offense was missing last year. And candidly, it was not a good unit last year offensively. They got hot at the right moment, was that vertical speed. So is Xavier Worthy, as a rookie wide receiver, ready to step into that role of, I'm going to be the person that stretches the defense and hurts them vertically, both in the play design and also the application of making those catches downfield. Hollywood, we've seen them do that in the NFL.
Known commodity.
Correct. And so with the injury to Hollywood and the unknown a little bit with Rashee Rice, I do think it matters. And also, as great as the Chiefs are, we can't rave about the AFC, and we can't rave about the AFC quarterbacks and think it's an easy road back to the AFC Championship. They're the favorite, but there's a lot of other contenders.
You wonder, Sky Moore, they drafted him a year ago. Is he ever going to step up? And I'll say this, for the Chiefs, they're scheduled to open the season. They have 2 brutal home games. They got Baltimore, we know they open on Thursday, and Cincinnati. So we'll see how long Brown will be out. Dan Orlovsky, you're not going to be out. You're with us all afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Hollywood Brown, not the only injury news that we're monitoring here on SportsCenter. Senior NFL insider Adam Schefter is with us now. And Adam, a few players left practice over the weekend. Can you give us the latest of what you're hearing, starting with Malik Neighbors in New York?
Shae, he took off his shoe on Sunday, walked off the field, hobbled off it, and obviously that got the attention of everybody there because Malik Neighbors has been electric during training camp. Now, today, the Giants head coach Brian Daboll said that Neighbors' foot is sore, but that he is day-to-day with a sprained left ankle. Now, it sounds like he's still going through more tests, but the Giants don't think that it's something that is going to sideline him long-term here. Sounds like a day-to-day injury. As for the Ravens Pro Bowl safety, Kyle Hamilton, he yesterday during practice pointed to his left hamstring. John Harbaugh, the head coach, came over. Lamar Jackson came over. It looked like the Ravens had a lot of concern with that injured leg during Sunday's practice session. Now, the Ravens think he's fine. They don't believe it to be a serious injury, and that is good news with the early start to the season in Kansas City against the Kansas City Chiefs. It looks like they'll have him back. And Deshaun Watson, cleared for full contact now, coming off that shoulder injury that sidelined him last season. They have a joint practice with the Vikings, and it looks like Watson will be a go. Now, they'll still be smart with him. It's not like they're putting him out there to be tackled and taking off his jersey or anything like that, but the fact that he's been cleared for contact is the latest sign in his continued progression to return to play. And right now, Deshaun Watson is tracking to be ready for the Browns' regular season opener, and now they can spend the rest of training camp getting him ready for that game.
All right, good news for the Browns. Watson has not played a full season since 2020 when he led the league in passing yards. Schefty, we'll see you a little bit later on. Thank you. Feels good to play this game again. Monday afternoon quarterback. 'Tis the season. That's why Dan Orlovsky is here. We're going to run through some quarterbacks in the AFC after seeing them perform over the weekend. You're going to give me one word to describe what you saw. Let's start with Joe Burrow, because lucky us, we got to see him for the first time since November 16th. One word.
Happy. I mean, this guy is one of the elite talents at any position, let alone quarterback in the NFL. And when Joe's playing this offense, and you know this is one that can go knock off Patrick Mahomes in the defending back-to-back Super Bowl champ. So I'm happy to see Joe Burrow out there and playing his style of football for this Bengals offense.
Remember, it was that right wrist he hurt, and you could not even tell, which is hopeful. Drake Maye, one word.
Improved. You know, Drake is one of these players that I'm going to liken to Jordan Love a lot. Coming out of school, there's so much physical talent, but he needs to improve on some of the things. You saw an easy little dump off screen, but for me, it was more important the mechanics of his feet, the ball handling when it comes to being an under center quarterback, something he did not do a lot of. The decision making on a 3rd and long to make sure that you're not trying to do too much as a young player, improved.
Yeah, in a loaded division, this is someone I feel like that might slide under the radar, but we're going to keep watching. Bo Nix, not under the radar, though. One word.
Surgical. And you saw a lot of the elements we saw in college, the athleticism on the move to go make plays with his arm, the designed quarterback run, that's something new to Sean Payton and then this football team, and then the ball placement on some of those outbreaking routes on that touchdown drive, the RPOs, the dynamic element that Bo Nix can bring with the quick ball fake and then that throw to the front pylon is you can do so many quick passing games in their offense. I thought it was surgical performance by Bo Nix in that Broncos offense.
Yeah, impressive performance. And this is what happens, though, after 1 week. We seem to have this like recency bias in our head as we say hello to Tyler Fulghum. Dan's going to move over here. And our sports betting analyst, Tyler Fulghum.
No, not
here.
the Harry Potter one.
I know. Clearly, he's going to be using the touch screen with that thing. I mentioned the recency bias. I know we've only seen really one game out of Bo Nix, but nonetheless, let's talk long shot for offensive rookie of the year. Where does Bo Nix fall in that category?
Nix would fall into the moderate long shot category. He's 14-1, which is 5th on the odds board at ESPN Bet. Dan, you and I were talking about this. Like, if you're looking to bet offensive rookie of the year, it's almost like MVP. In this class, it's got to be a quarterback that you're betting for. And so at 14-1 after that surgical performance we saw from Nix, I think he's worth a sprinkle.
Yeah, and I think because of the improvement or the encouragement that Sean Payton's going to have coming out of that game, I think he's going to be their week 1 starter. Yeah. I absolutely do. And if they can run the football, Sean is so smart, they'll have a good defense. I don't mind that as a little bit of a mid-tier long shot you're talking about.
Okay, and we've known that Sean Payton has loved Bo Nix, so I don't think that is super surprising. Let's go to a favorite for offensive rookie, not moderate.
Right. These are the guys that cost a lot. It's Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, and Jaden Daniels. My favorite bet in this market is actually going to be Jaden Daniels. I think when you look at him versus Caleb Williams, I think both these quarterbacks are going to start from week 1 and have a similar floor and ceiling when it comes to throwing the football. What separates them from me, though, is Jaden Daniels' ability rushing the football. I can see him doing something special. 800 yards, 1,000 yards, 8 TDs on the ground, and that may be what separates him. When you look at how people are betting, Shae, Dan, Caleb Williams is getting almost 1 in every 3 bets at ESPN Bet. He's wildly popular. So I'll go down to the second name on the list. Jaden Daniels is my favorite. He's getting 16% of the bets at ESPN Bet, mine included at 6-1. You get a bit better payout if Daniels is the rookie of the year.
So don't forget, his offensive coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury, was with Kyler Murray, and he had a ton of rushing yardage early on in his NFL career. The Commanders are fascinating for me, and so is Jaden, because if their offensive line is okay, They're going to have
Big
an
question.
offense that's really good, and Jaden's going to play well. They got two receivers led by Terry McLaurin, who's a star. Jahan Dotson, can he take that next step? They got two backs, Brian Robinson, and then Austin Eckler comes over. Cheap yards for a quarterback. Sinat, their tight end, their rookie out of Kansas State. He's the guy that if he can become a little bit of an unknown factor, but a vertical threat in their passing game, that gives you a bunch of options for Jaden Daniels, and I don't dislike that at all.
All right, good.
But I do dislike the placement. I mean, doesn't this look like he's tweening in between here? Like, I like it.
We can fix that.
No, not at all type A is one again, Orlovsky.
Maybe that was subliminal because Caleb and
It was
Jaden,
not
I think those are the two right there.
All right, but now it is firmly Jaden Daniels. Guys, thank you.
Yep.
Shae and Matt back here with you on SportsCenter, and the Steelers got their first look at quarterback Justin Fields, who started Friday night's preseason game. Fields led 3 drives and offered kind of a mixed bag. The good, 5 of 6 passing for 67 yards. The bad, 2 fumbled snaps and 2 sacks. Fields described it as, quote, shooting ourselves in the foot, unquote. We are back with our senior NFL insider, Adam Schefter. And so, Schefty, what are you hearing about who is now in the driver's seat, because they also have Russell Wilson there, to start week 1 in Pittsburgh?
Well, Shae, Russell Wilson's getting healthier and healthier, and we go back to what Mike Tomlin said before training camp, that Russell Wilson was in the pole position. But his calf injury has opened the door for Justin Fields to step in and try to impress Steelers coaches. And I think that they're pleased right now with what they've seen from Justin Fields, and the Steelers feel like they have 2 really good quarterbacks right now. So now it's going to be up to both quarterbacks to show what they can do from this point on. Again, I still think Russell Wilson is in the pole position, but the more reps that Justin Fields gets, the more he's had the chance to impress Steelers coaches, and he's done that so far.
Okay, Schefty, thank you so much. We'll have more with you in a minute. In the meantime, I want to get Dan Orlovsky's thoughts on what he saw from Justin Fields. Talked about that mixed bag. It wasn't a great performance. What did you make of Justin Fields' performance?
Well, you heard Schefty talk about those 2 fumbled snaps between him and the center. Number 1, it takes 2 to tango. It's not just the quarterback and it's not just the center. And then you still saw a little bit of the issues from his pass. So paying attention to the snap, he's going to move to our left, his right. When that happens, quarterback, you want to move your hands with him, essentially. Justin leaves his hands there. There's a fumbled snap. These are easily fixed things. We don't even know if that's going to be the starting center for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, again, he's going to move to our right, his left. This time, Justin moves his hands a little bit with the center, but the center snaps the ball basically underneath his right hamstring. That leads to the fumble. This is not just a Justin Fields thing. Again, it takes both these guys. Now, the one thing I do want to point out specific to Justin, I want everyone to pay attention to at the bottom of the route, George Pickens running an in route, the pace, the speed of Justin's drop. He goes so quick here, he's ready to throw the football now. The problem with that is no one is remotely close to being ready to catch the football, and so his internal clock says, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I've got to get the ball out. And instead of maybe trying to open up a receiver in George Pickens downfield using his eyes to manipulate those underneath defenders, he dumps the ball off to the tight end. Good decision, sure, but it's the right one in that moment. And so I think that's something where he needs to grow in Arthur Smith's offense. At some point, Justin's going to have to get that under control, the pace of his drops. But those snaps, these aren't excuses. They're not unfixable flaws, and they're not solely on the quarterback play.
If I may, who do you think starts week 1, Justin or Russell, given both are healthy?
If you told me that Arthur Smith, who's their offensive coordinator, is going to copy the Baltimore Ravens and design 10 plays a game that are quarterback run, that are specific to that, I say Justin Fields. If not, I can see them going Russell Wilson's a safer decision for us.
Interesting. We will find out in a couple weeks. Dan, sit tight. More with you in a minute. In the meantime, we go over to Matt Barrie.
Like a politician, Orlovsky played both sides. Just days after raising a few eyebrows at training camp, Jerry Jones and the Cowboys are still in holdout mode with star receiver CeeDee Lamb. Last week, Jera said there was no urgency to get Lamb signed to a contract extension, which CeeDee replied on social media, LOL. Sunday, the Cowboys owner struck a different tone. Take a listen.
I think I got in trouble a little the other day when I said, look, we're not urgent about CD. Well, no one appreciates CD being on the field any more than I do. Now, I understand completely the angst that's happening when you're anxious about and someone says anything about whether you're missed or not. Well, CD, you're missed, okay? But you're not missed out here competing, and it doesn't put any pressure any place on us.
All right, so the Cowboys trio of stars, hoping that trio is back with CeeDee Lamb as we welcome in our Adam Schefter. And Schefty, when you look at this team and the contract possibilities, he'll pop up. I know he will. Is he there? Oh, he's there. Okay, I didn't have the monitor right there. Thank you for telling me. You've got the look. What is the progress, long-term prognosis of CeeDee Lamb getting a deal done?
Look, both sides want to get this done. It's hard to imagine that it wouldn't get done when the framework is there from all these other wide receiver deals across the league. But the fact of the matter is, we're now in the middle of August and they still haven't gotten it done, which has to be discouraging if you're rooting for the Dallas Cowboys. The fact that they can't figure out a deal for CeeDee Lamb. Again, when you talk to people around the league, they believe that these two sides eventually will get together and figure it out. And they do not believe that CeeDee Lamb will wind up missing any time, and he should be back for the regular season opener. But it's August 12th. He's missed the first part of camp. He still is away from camp. He's missed reps there this summer with new players. And so it's not ideal, but again, it should not be hard to get done, but it should not have gotten to this point anyway.
There you go. It's a little bit far into camp. To this point is the key word there, Adam Schefter. You thought they'd get this done, and you mentioned him. You heard him mention that there a second ago, Dan. He's missing time with new players. Big picture concern level that CeeDee's not in camp. New players, quarterback, to try to get past this playoff hump that Dallas is always in.
Real. Number one, the last time we saw CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott on the field together, they were not on the same page. That's the playoff game against the Green Bay Packers. Number two, dating back to last season, 181 targets. That was number one in the NFL. 135 catches. That was number one in the NFL. 596 routes run. That was top 5 in the NFL. Missing this time, we cannot expect the same amount of volume nor the same amount of production out of CeeDee Lamb. And if you look at the start of their season, because without him, this offense falls off. They're the only team in the NFC outside of Carolina without a real number one wide receiver. The Browns, they're going to rush the passer. Someone's got to get open. The Saints, they can rush the passer. Someone's got to get open. The Ravens, they can run the passer. Someone's got to get open. Giants have one of the best defensive lines of football, and the Steelers have this guy named T.J. Watt. The Lions have Aiden Hutchinson. So I don't expect this, to Shefty's point, to go into the season. But if it does, the schedule's daunting. And even if it doesn't, are they really going to trot CeeDee Lamb out there in the early part of that schedule if he misses another week or two? And the concern of lack of production or a lack of injury, God forbid.
Welcome back to SportsCenter. Time to play a little bit more of Monday Afternoon Quarterback with Dan Orlovsky. This time we're going to go NFC quarterbacks. One word to describe what you saw in the preseason.
You guys keep asking me these one words. It took me 17 years to graduate college. So, you're putting me on the spot with some.
There were other reasons for that as well. I mean, it could be multiple words. I'm not judging. Let's go Jordan Love.
Seamless. Jordan Love ended the season so well last year, and through the final 9 or 10 games was as good as any quarterback in football. Well, picked up right where he left off. You saw the improved mechanics again, the decision-making, the touchdown throw down the field on the inside slot fade is just a thing of beauty, and I think that's the jump that we saw last year was that downfield accuracy. We saw that again in the preseason of week 1. This offense is going to be very difficult for anybody in the NFC to stop.
I mean, we're also talking about 3 snaps. You know what I mean? One word for 3 snaps. It's okay.
Seamless from his first 3 to the next 4.
Exactly. J.J. McCarthy.
Validating. There was a lot of conversation around J.J. McCarthy coming out of the draft. Who was he? Was he good? Was he a product of Michigan and Coach Harbaugh? He was really good in that first preseason game. The early interception learned from, but you saw the ability in the play-action game to throw the ball downfield, crossers, go route one-on-one, fit it into really good windows, the different types of throws, not just everything so hard, validating for that Minnesota Viking organization.
We talked a little bit about Jaden Daniels already today, but let's do it again here. One word to describe what you saw.
Pure. I mean, that was Jaden in his college days, certainly the last 2 seasons at LSU. Ball placement is elite. This is his superpower. This is pretty darn good coverage by the Jets. It's just a significantly better throw than the coverage. But the pure element of how he operates, how quickly he can get the ball out, used as a dynamic runner in the red zone. I think under Cliff Kingsbury, this is a very interesting, not only quarterback situation, but football team situation in Washington.
Okay, let's bring it back on camera, though, really quick, because there was a quarterback, the one that went number 1 overall to Chicago, that stood out over the weekend, if I don't say so myself. What'd you think about Caleb Williams?
You didn't ask me one word, but I'm giving you one. Sensational. He really was. It was unbelievably impressive to watch Caleb Williams. You saw the competitive and intelligent IQ, the dump off of a screen, off of pressure, not panicking, the third down, the two-man, I'm going to scramble and use my legs to go get a first down, and also slide. And my favorite part of it was the athleticism is something that we knew, but that third down decision-making was very impressive. He saw 5 different defenses from the Buffalo Bills. That's abnormal in the NFL. Usually there's vanilla and you see 1 or 2, and you don't get too encouraged by that. He saw a traditional cover 1, which is man-to-man with 1 safety in the middle field. He saw a cover 2. He saw a 3 with the fire zone blitz, meaning blitzes off the right, droppers off the left. He saw 2-man, 2 deep safeties, man underneath, where you got to make a decision. I mean, to get all that thrown at you and to be unfazed by it and to really look like you understood what you were looking at when he didn't see that a ton in college, very impressive.
And very promising, obviously, for Chicago fans. Chicago's next preseason game is Saturday against the Bengals. I don't know if we'll see Joe Burrow. Probably not. I don't know if it matters. Dan Orlovsky, thank you.